Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome back to a brand new video on Hijomeatman News. Today we are here for the 4th round of the Motogp World Championship. The race review from 3 races at Jerez de la Frontera. And, well, we're going to start off with Moto 3 where Hijomeatman started his Spanish Grand Prix attack on pole position, and Aaron Canet was looking to improve on his American performance after crashing out of the American Grand Prix. And the lights went out and it was a great start from Martin. He got to the front, started pulling away. The pack got through turn 1, turn 2 safely. They got down into dry sack. That's where we had the first incident with Tatsuki Suzuki taking out Nicolo Antonelli out of the Spanish Grand Prix. Antonelli's luck just cannot get any worse. He got taken out by Fenati in Argentina and taken out again here in Jerez. And then Vincent Perez, he crashed the wild card. He crashed at the final corner. Pretty big high side for him. But back at the front, he was pushing on. Was Aaron Canet, Romano Fenati, Mir, Ramirez, Binder, Dijan, there's Bulega, Bastianini, Mino, Martin, and a lot of riders. I think it was 12 riders in the leading group, all fighting for the win. Ramirez and Binder on the Platinum Bay rear estate, they hit the front. And Ramirez, honestly, he started pulling away and he looked like he was set for a very solid result. And then Fenati got back to the front. A couple of laps later, then Darren Binder dive-bombed his teammate and Fenati into the final corner, and leaving Fenati to go a little bit wide. That allowed Ramirez to then go up the side of Fenati. Fenati had to grab a bit of front brake, and things got a bit tight in the final corner before he then headed onto the straight. There was a bit of incident as well between, I think it was Johan Mir and Aaron Canet. Aaron Canet got pushed up onto the curb and got it all out the seat, and he dropped back a few positions. And then Fenati goes up the inside of Darren Binder, and well, it was at the time it looked a bit dodgy, but it was a bit of a racing incident. Darren Binder had Fenati up the inside of him. Binder, as on the slow-mo, he just kind of kept leaning on him instead of just sitting him up and giving him a little bit of room. Whether or not Binder couldn't see Fenati on the inside, but he got touched and crashed out of the race. He did rejoin to finish in 20th, what could have been a win for Darren Binder, to do what his brother did last year and get a win at Jerez. 2 brothers winning in 2 separate years at the same circuit. Not in the same style, it didn't come from the back of the grid, but it would have been quite nice to see Darren Binder take the win. But back at the front, with Binder now out of it, things were hottening up as Johan Mir started coming through the field, and the group as well just split a little bit. We had Bulega leading a little second group with about half of the race to go, and then with all this fighting and squabbling going on at the front, that allowed them to close back up. John McPhee, he started in 25th. He got himself up to 12th position, but then coming into turn number 1, he got passed by Bo Benderschneider on the way into turn number 1, and then the Scot lost the front at turn 1 and crashed out of the Spanish Grand Prix. But then back at the front, it was Aaron Canet who was leading the way for a short moment before Fenati then got him back on the brakes. And then it all comes down to the final corner. Johan Mir was leading the way coming into the left-hander before the Angel Nieto right-handers at the stadium section. He had a big moment on the top of the curb. He nearly high-sided himself out of the Grand Prix before he then grabbed the brakes and Fenati slipped underneath him on the left-hander. Fenati created a big gap through the right and then got closed up towards the final part of the lap where Aaron Canet performed an incredible dive up the inside of Johan Mir and Romano Fenati to then take the win. So Aaron Canet wins his first Grand Prix in Moto 3 and is the first Spanish rider to win a Grand Prix in Moto 3 at Jerez since Maverick Vinales in 2013. So that was really, really good for Aaron. He missed out, like I said, in America 2 weeks ago after high-siding out of the lead on the penultimate lap. He's not the only rider recently to crash out the lead. We'll move on to that later on. Romano Fenati finished 2nd position after his incident with Darren Binder. Race Direction did investigate it, but then in the end they decided that it was nothing to put like a penalty on. So he finished in 2nd position. Johan Mir rounding out the podium, championship leader. He is in 3rd position. Marcos Ramirez, who I really wanted to get the win, he finished in 4th. He was just a little bit too far to make a lunge up the inside and risk everything, so he just stick in 4th to get 13 points on the board. With Fabio Di Gianantonio and De Emilio, Nicolo Bulega slipped to 7th, with Bastianini, Martin Guevara, Benderschneider, Danilo, Rodrigo Arenas and Sasaki, getting the final point for the Sick Racing team. The guys who crashed out, John McPhee on the British Talent team, he crashed out. Bezzecchi and Norodin, they had a come in together. Tatsuki Suzuki, who retired after his incident with Antonelli, who got back on the bike, by the way, to finish in 22nd position behind Aturat Pupapat. And then Suzuki, like I said, Perez as well, he crashed out at the final corner, the wild card. He crashed at the final corner on lap 5. So, that was Moto 3. And then Moto 2 was looking to be set. Morbidelli 3 out of 3, looking to get his 4th win. The first guy since Tajiri Kato 2001 in the 250 days to win 4 in a row. He started from 2nd behind his teammate Alex Marquez and ahead of the Kiefer Racing Dominique Agata. Danny Kent, his ex-teammate, he is not riding. He pulled out of the team, and the Kiefer replacement is Federico Fellini, the Sky VR46 rider, who is currently competing in CEV on the Forward Racing team in that. So, lights went out. Alex Marquez got the whole shot. Morbidelli in 2nd, and a bit of argy-bargy going on behind as they all sorted themselves out. And then at the front, Alex Marquez was just pulling away a little bit from Morbidelli, gaining a couple of tenths a lap. And then into dry sack corner, we had an incident with Corsi and Nakagami and Javi Vieje, who had such a strong race up to then. He got taken out by the speed up of Corsi and then retired from the race. Nakagami, he carried on. He finished in 21st, and Simone Corsi, he also was a retirement. So he had that incident on lap 23, and then drama at the front as Alex Marquez makes a big mistake into Cito Pons. I think he missed the gear or something. He went very, very wide. Just about kept it on the track, and that allowed Morbidelli to take the lead and take control of the Spanish Grand Prix. Meanwhile, behind him, Francesco Bagnaia, the rookie, he got himself up into 4th position and started fighting his way through. He had to then pass Passini for 3rd position. He got that job done, and he was up into 3rd, and he was starting to actually catch Marquez a little bit every lap. I think it was about 300th of a second he was catching. And then drama at the front, turn number 9, when Morbidelli crashed out in practice. Morbidelli loses the front at turn 9 and crashes away, and his chance of 4 out of 4 was gone, leaving Alex Marquez to take control. Then not long after that, 2 laps later, Ike Lecuona, he crashed out on his Garage Plus into Wheaton Calex with 14 laps remaining. And then Kyril Inampawi, he was the next guy to crash. He crashed with 12 laps remaining. Javi Vieje, he carried on until 9 laps to go when he retired from the race. And Sandro Cortese crashed on lap number 9. But at the front, it was Oliveira who was chasing down Bagnaia and Passini. He got to the back of Passini, made the pass, and then started chasing down Bagnaia. But it wasn't enough for the Portuguese rider. He finished in 3rd position once again. A very, very boring Moto 2 Grand Prix. Alex Marquez eventually taking the win after a little bit of a scary moment, clipping the inside curb, losing the back, and very nearly high-sided himself out of the Spanish Grand Prix. It wouldn't be the first time he's high-sided himself out of a podium position. He took the win by 3.4 seconds ahead of Bagnaia, the rookie, to get a podium on the Sky Racing Team VR46 Calex, with Miguel Oliveira on the KTM in 3rd position. Matteo Passini finally finishes the race without crashing. He's in 4th position. Luca Marini on the Forward Racing Team Calex, he is in 5th position, his best result of the season. Marcel Schrotter in 6th. Agata, despite starting in 3rd position, he dropped to 7th. He was the 2nd suitor behind Marcel Schrotter on the 1st suitor. The other suitor, Sandro Cortese, obviously crashing out with 9 laps remaining. Then it was Tom Luthi in 8th position. Not the best race for him as he's trying to not the best race for him as he's trying to close down the gap to Morbidelli. Obviously, he got 8 points in his charge, so he gained 8 points on Mr. Morbidelli, and the gap, I think, at the front is now 11 points. Yoni Hernandez in 9th position, with Axel Pons rounding out the top 10. Lorenzo Baldassari in 11th. Jorge Navarro 12th. Hazif Sayer in 13th. Ricky Cardus on the other KTM, he come up to 14th position. And Tetsuta Nagashima on the Teleru SAG team, he finished in 15th position. Quattararo down in 16th. Honestly, I thought he would have a much better Grand Prix. He started on Friday, really strong pace in FP2. He was 4th. Really good pace. Then he just dropped back. He finished in front of his teammate Edgar Pons, who was in 17th. Isaac Vinales in 18th. Javier Simeon, he had a bit of an off-track excursion at turn number 1. Esko Raffin, Taka Nakagami, like I said earlier, involved in that crash at Dry Sack. Remy Gardner with the pins in his ankle, he finished in 22nd. Axel Bassani on the second speed up, he finished in 23rd. The wildcard of Federico Fellini in 24th. And Stefano Manzi, who also crashed at the final corner, he did a little 360 spin. He lost the front and then the back come round of him and he did a spin. And he got back on his Sky Racing bike to finish in 25th position. And then Andrea Locatelli, number 5, on the Italtrans Racing Calex, he crashed out as well, but then got back on to finish in 26th position. So, Alex Marquez taking his first win. We've had 2 brand new winners in that class. Obviously, Canet getting his first win in Moto 3 and Marquez getting his first win in Moto 2. And again, it's the first Spanish rider to win since Tito Rabat in 2013 when he was in Moto 2. So, interesting couple of stats there. So, that was Moto 2. Alex Marquez, Bagnaia, Oliveira is the podium. And now we move on to the main event, the Motogp Grand Prix. And it was Danny Pedrosa starting from pole position at his home Grand Prix. He was running the hard front, medium rear. Marquez, a hard front, hard rear. Cal Crutchlow was on a hard front and a hard rear as well. The Yamahas, Maverick Vinales was on a hard front, medium rear, following Pedrosa. Zarco was on a medium, medium. Rossi, hard front, medium rear. Folger on a medium, medium. And Lorenzo was also on a medium on a Ducati. So the satellite bikes going for the medium, softer front and rear compounds, whereas Rossi and Maverick, the factory Yamahas that has been struggling with front end feel all weekend, they were on the harder front tyre. So the lights went out and Danny Pedrosa got the whole shot. He did exactly what he needed to do. He led his teammate Marquez into second position. And then Zarco, he made a great start to the race. The opening laps, he was very aggressive and made a pass on Valentino Rossi. And I thought Rossi was going to touch the back of Zarco. He got quite close to the back of him. And then he started just pushing and pushing. He then made a move on Vinales and got himself into the top 5. And then he caught Marc Marquez and passed him for second position. And I thought, hang on a minute, he could be on for a podium here. And then Marquez got him back later on in the race. A couple of laps had gone by and we had a couple of incidents to go through on lap 22. We had Cal Crutchlow crashing at turn 11. A little bit of a strange crash. He just got on the throttle, started accelerating with the wind and everything that was going on in that Grand Prix. The front end just lightened up as he asked for the throttle. The wind come and took him out. And then moments later at the same corner, Paulo Spagara on the KTM is having such a good ride all weekend. He then crashed at the same corner just a couple of seconds after. But just a little bit before that, there was an incident between Jack Miller and Bautista. We're not sure what happened. However, Jack ran up to Bautista and pushed him over after he was trying to pick up his Ducati. So, not sure what happened between them two, but unfortunately, they were out of the race. Jack Miller having such a strong weekend for most of that for most of the Spanish Grand Prix, and then unfortunately dropped it at turn number 1. His teammate Rabat, he also crashed. He crashed at the second corner with 18 remaining. And Iannone, he then crashed at turn 11 as well later on with 18 laps to go. Whilst this was on, Andrea Dovizioso was starting to make his way up the field. He passed Vinales, Petrucci, Folger and Valentino Rossi. And once they were in a little bit of a fight, Dovi, Vinales, Petrucci and Valentino Rossi, Johan Zarco was then being caught down by Jorge Lorenzo, who eventually made the move and got himself into the podium positions. Zarco just stuck behind him for most of the race. Valentino Rossi dropped to the back of the group that was being led by Dovizioso. He got passed by Danilo Petrucci and then he was losing a lot of time. He was dropping back about 2 seconds a lap and he fell into the clutches of Aprilia's Aleix Espargaro, who then made the move on him at turn number 1. Rossi, in fact, went very, very wide into turn number 1, and he kind of just looked over his shoulder and just thought, yeah, you know what, mate, just take the position. And Valentino Rossi knew that I think if he finished in about 10th position with Maverick in the 6th, he would still be leading the championship by 2 points. So he thought, let's just get some points, let's not throw it away. But interestingly, Valentino Rossi then, Jonas Folger made the move on him, and that's when he started falling back to Aleix Espargaro. And then Scott Redding on the final lap, he started that lap 4 seconds behind Rossi and ended it just 2 seconds behind Valentino Rossi. So Rossi definitely struggling. He was lapping 6 seconds slower than Dani Pedrosa throughout most of that race. Not really a lot went on in that Motogp race. Pedrosa took control. The gap was about 1.3 for the whole race. Marquez started catching him, got under a second, then the gap opened back up again. Pedrosa controlled the race absolutely brilliantly. He was, every time the gap would come down a little bit, he'd just extend it again. And he just really, really, really worked hard for that race to get the win with a time of 45 minutes, 26 seconds, and 8.27 to be precise, with Marc Marquez making it a Repsol Honda 1-2, and Jorge Lorenzo on the Ducati back on the podium, 16 points for the Spaniard. Johann Zarco in 4th position on the Monster Yamaha Tech 3. What a ride for him. His best result of the season by far. The podium is coming. He goes home in 2 weeks' time in France, where Jamie will be joining us once again for that. Andrea Dovizioso, he's rescued it. He has rescued it. He was absolutely nowhere in qualifying. He qualified in qualifying 1, down in 14th position, and brought it back for 5th. He finished ahead of Maverick Vinales, who come back into the pits after the race. He was very confused. You see in his face, he was in his face especially, it looked like he was angry and confused, and he was shouting at the mechanics, and he was just trying to explain something that just was not going on with that Musa Yamaha. He just looked completely lost. All weekend he's been a bit frustrated as well. Since that crash in Austin, he had to crash in Jerez as well in practice, and since then he's just been a bit nervy and a bit on edge, and he's just been very, very unhappy and just looked frustrated. He finished in 6th position, with Petrucci finishing in 7th, Jonas Folger in 8th, Espargaro 9th, Valentino Rossi down in 10th position, the leader of the championship. He had to just fight. He just had to get points. He had a very, very, very appalling weekend, to be honest. He qualified down in 7th. It's not his worst qualifying of the year by far, but he could have, if he had the pace on the front tyre, if he had the feeling on the front tyre, you never know what could have happened. Valentino Rossi, as we've seen throughout the whole of the year, he is a Sunday man. He brings it to the table on Sunday. Unfortunately, he couldn't today. Yamaha just lacking that front end grip. But you might wonder why Monster Yamaha Tech 3, why they weren't suffering. They're on last year's bike. Remember, they are on the race-winning, what was Valentino Rossi's race-winning bike. But, you know, it's interesting because Maverick hasn't really had these issues. Then Jarvis says, you know, made out that he's not really had these issues as bad as Rossi, but I think throughout the, you know, the weekend, Maverick's worked, and testing especially, Maverick's worked a lot more than Rossi to get these problems sorted, and Maverick won the opening 2 rounds and then crashed out of Austin. Rossi, he's sorted the problems on a Sunday when it matters, but he's lacking a little bit in practice, which then obviously in Argentina he had to go through qualifying 1. He got himself in qualifying 2 quite comfortably in Jerez, and things were looking up for him this morning. He was only a couple of tenths off the race pace, and then in the hotter conditions in the race, both of the Yamahas on the harder front tyre was struggling a little bit, and actually as well, Pedrosa and Marquez said that they had the same little problems towards the end of the race. So if Valentino and Maverick had gone for the medium tyre, whether or not they would have been able to just have a little bit more consistent pace and get inside the top 5, I definitely don't think they would have got on the podium, but maybe challenge Dovizioso and Petrucci for that podium instead of just, you know, dropping back from Dovizioso and Rossi dropping back from the Aprilia of Aleix Espargaro. Valentino Rossi definitely looked like he just kind of gave up with things when Espargaro passed him. It definitely looked like he just wasn't bothered. He looked over his shoulder, like I said, on the exit of turn 1, and just kind of, he didn't fight to keep his position. Then he come out of dry sack, he was looking over his shoulder again, and he was just looking to see, I think, how far the guys were behind him, and if he had enough gap just to bring this bike home and not risk crashing, because there was a few times where his foot was off the peg at turn 9. It was quite a lot as well. He had the front end issues, and that's where people have been crashing a lot. Scott Redding, he finished the race in 11th on the Octo Pramac Racing, a GP16 Ducati. He finished ahead of Barbara and Baz, who were having a great little fight throughout the Grand Prix. Bradley Smith on the KTM, he got 2 points for them. He finished in 14th. With Karen Abraham with a fractured ankle, he got a point. And then Sam Lowes finishing over 1 minute and 8 seconds behind Danny Pedrosa. He finished in 16th. With Takuya Tsuda, who is replacing Alex Rins, he finished in 17th position. He will not be in Le Mans. Sylvain Guintoli will be returning to the MotoGP class at Le Mans. Right, so the championship tables. In Moto 3, Johan Mir still leads the way, with Romano Fenati now jumping up to 2nd position. He's on 65 points, with Jorge Martin in 3rd on 59. John McPhee slipped down to 4th on 49 points, with Aaron Canet in 5th on 43. Fabio Di Gianantonio, he's in 6th position on 35 points. He joint 6th with Andrea Migno. Marcos Ramirez, after that great ride today, he's up to 8th. He's joint 8th with Juan Guevara, who's also on 23 points. And then Nicolo Bulega rounds out the top 10. Filippo, he was a non-starter in today's race, by the way. He is 12th in the championship on 20 points. Darren Binder, after his misfortune today, he is 14th, ahead of Antonelli, who has had no luck whatsoever. Antonelli only finishing 2 out of the 4 races. America, he was in 14th, and Qatar, he was in 7th, the 2nd KTM. So his season's really not going to plan. Another rider whose season's not going to plan is Bo Bensnyder on the KTM. He's down in 22nd in the championship standings. He is absolutely nowhere. He crashed out in Qatar, he crashed out in America, and he scored some points today. In fact, he scored his first points of the season today. He scored 5 points. It was a lot worse for him going into it. He had no points on the board, with his 23rd in Argentina, and he finally got some points on the board today. Moto 2, after the crash of Morbidelli, he still leads the way on 75 points, with Thomas Luthi in 2nd. He's on 64, with Miguel Oliveira 59 points. Alex Marquez with his win jumps up to 4th position on 49 points. And the top rookie at the moment, Mr. Bagnaia, on 5th position. He's 33 points. Nakagami in 6th, with Marini, Agata, Baldassari and Javi Vierge still 10th in the championship, despite his little get-off with Corsi and Nakagami earlier on in the race. Very good season from Vierge. 2 top 10s and a 5th position, and then a crash in Jerez. So Tech 3 and Vierge can be very pleased with that. Marcel Schrotter on the Suter, he's in 11th. Simone Corsi in 12th. Cyrene Piscini Quattararo rounding out the top 15. Yoni Hernandez is in 18th. He has got 7 points. Brad Binder, the rider with the broken arm, he's also got 7 points. Jorge Navarro, he's in 20th position on 6 points, with Vasco Raffin, Javier Simeon, Ricky Cardews, Danny Kent, Nagashima, Pons, Vinales, Simon, Locatelli, Gardner, Bassani, Manzi, Paui, Fulgini and Ika Lecuona rounding out the top 35. In MotoGP, despite the poor results for Yamaha, Valentino Rossi still leads the way by 2 points ahead of Maverick Vinales, who is then a further 2 points ahead of Marc Marquez. Then it's the race winner of today, Danny Pedrosa. He is on 52 points, with David Ziozo in 5th. Johan Zarco in 6th position after a great start to the season for him, leading in Qatar and then crashed out. And then Argentina, not too bad. America, again, not too bad. And Jerez today, a great race for him. Cal Crutchlow, he's in 7th position after his crash today, with Lorenzo in 9th. What? Cal Crutchlow, he's in 7th, with Folger joint on points with him. He's in 29 points, with Lorenzo on 28. Petrucci rounding out the top 10. Redding, Miller, Espargaro, that's Alicia Espargaro, Bautista, Baz, Barbara, Iannone, Carol Abraham, Tito Rabat, Alex Rins, Bradley Smith and Paul Espargaro. Bradley Smith having 3 points. Paul has got 2 at the moment. Then the guys who haven't scored a point yet, Sam Lowes and Takuya Tsuda, and then I assume it will be Sylvain Guintoli next weekend. I really hope he can do well, get maybe a top 10, top 15, get some points. It will be very good to see him you know, back out there on that Suzuki. And I hope KTM can have a good race as well in Le Mans. Hopefully temperature's a little bit cooler. The Big Bang engine will work for them well around there. So that is it for today's race analysis. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll be back next Saturday for the Let's Talk the Le Mans preview. And we've also got a couple of videos coming out in the week as well. So I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.